Hi guys, in this video I'm going to show you how to do my ultimate winged liner. This is the beautiful Leillia and we're going to do some gorgeous holographic skin to complement the liner. So I'm going to prep the skin with the By Terry CC Brightening Cream in Rose Elixir. And I'm just going to pat that over the skin. So this really brightens the skin. It's also amazing for anybody that's got fair skin tones. So I've gone quite heavy with this product because we do want to have that gorgeous icy holographic skin. If you were just using this for a normal makeup, then you might just want to use it a little bit more sparingly. So this specific look is perfect for high fashion editorial. And you can actually pare it down, so you could incorporate this into a bridal look or a red carpet look as well. And I'm just taking off any excess product. This does sink in to the skin pretty quickly. And I'm going to use the Dermalogica Skin Smoothing Cream as well. So this is just going to give us a super hydrated base. And just spend a little bit of time working that into the skin. So just working that into the skin over the top of the brightening serum and just making sure that everything is fully absorbed. So you can already see that the skin has that beautiful glow. Okay. Now I'm going to brighten up under the eyes. This is the Becca Under Eye Brightener. So this is great for lightening under the eyes and helping to reflect the light. So I like to go right up on the inner corner of the eye, under the eye, and it helps to neutralize any redness, so you can take it to the outer corner of the eye as well. And I have got some face tape on Leillia here, which just helps accentuate the eye when you're doing an editorial look. And I'm using my trusty Real Techniques brush. Again, this just really helps push the product into the skin. You can also use this product around the nose area to eliminate any redness. And the skin looks amazing just like this without even any foundation on. And just make sure that that's all melted into the skin. Okay, so I'm going to use a mix of foundations. This is the Becca Ultimate Coverage Foundation in Porcelain, and I am mixing it in with the CC Cream by It Cosmetics. I'm just going to pop that on my palette. And then I'm also mixing in a primer by Becca, which is the Backlit Primer, and that just really helps brighten up the foundation. I'm just going to start in the center of the skin. So I like to apply the foundation with my brush first, just to get the product onto the skin. I'm then going to use my beauty blender and just work it into the skin. So this is my Kitology beauty blender. I find that this is the best one on the market, super big, and it just helps cover a large area. So this is good if you're short of time. You can really move the product across the face really quickly. And you can work over the face tapes as well. You can put makeup over them. Generally what will happen is the photographer will edit out the marks. Okay, so just spending some time working that into the skin, and you can see all the brightening serums come through the foundation, which is what you want. And just catch under the eye. And these blenders are just amazing. They just really push the product into the skin. It feels quite nice, like a little massage. Okay, and just covering up anything that you need. Concealing as well, just an extra layer of foundation. Again, as usual, I will go back in and perfect the skin at the end. And work across the brow as well. We're going to fill in Leillia's brows as well because they're quite fair, which I do love, but we're going to give her a little bit of brow. And just turn your head to the side. And make sure that your neck is all blended as well. So you really can spend the time doing the skin because it is a really important step. So it's okay to spend the time pressing in the product and making sure that the skin is flawless. And I'm just gonna buff over any excess product with a clean concealer brush. And I'm now going to go in with my concealer as well. So this is the Fenty Beauty concealers. These are one of my favorites to use at the moment. This is in the color 160. So this is a cool base concealer. And under the eyes. And it's a pretty perfect match for her skin. And we're going to be doing a winged liner, so we want to make sure that the outer corners of the skin is all perfect. So just paying particular attention to that area. And then under the eyes. And down the center of the face. You can always afford to have a little bit more coverage down the center of the face. So don't be afraid to kind of go back in for that. And then just softening with the Beauty Blender as well. And again, just on the other side of the eye, just making sure that there's no redness. So I'm gonna leave the concealing there and we're gonna go on to the prepping the eyelids. So I'm using my favorite eyeshadow primer at the moment, which is the NARS Tinted Smudge Proof. So this is in the color Light, and I'm just gonna go over the lid. So I'm just using a tiny amount because I just want to neutralize the redness on the lid, and then I'm going to go in with a different primer. So a super light amount. So I've prepped the lid with the NARS eyeshadow base. I'm now going to go in with the MAC Longwear paint pot in Vintage Selection. So this is like a silvery pinky color. And I'm just gonna buff that over the lid. So this is gonna continue with the iridescent glow. And I'm gonna work that all over the lid, on the inner corners of the eye as well. And this is going to be the base for our eyeshadow. And again, just making sure that you don't overuse this product. You want the edges to be seamless. So just use it sparingly. But it has a really beautiful pinky undertone, so it's perfect for fair skins and blondes. It's super sparkly. And then just open. So I'm gonna prep Leillia's brows with Brow Co. And I'm just gonna give it a little spray. This is Fix Press. This is a brow soap. And I'm just working in a spoolie just to get quite a thick paste. And what we need to do is really work this product into the brow. So you kind of want to go back through the brow to really catch the back end of the brow. And then we're going to push the brows up and flatten them down for that super kind of editorial brow. In some brows, this takes a little bit longer. If the brow is really thick, then it might take a little bit longer. Leillia's brows are nice and easy to work with. And this just sticks them down. So you need to go back over the brow and do this a couple of times to make sure that they really adhere to the skin.
Maybe so you will need to go over.
Okay. So you will need to go back over the brow and make sure that the product's really worked in so the brow adheres to the skin. And then again, work it through the brow. I like to brush them backwards to really make sure that the soap is coating the brows. And then push them up and smooth them into place. Okay, perfect. Let me look around. That's it. And I'm going to go in with, this is the Anastasia Beverly Hills Dip Brow in Taupe. I'm using an angle brush 263 by MAC. And we're just going to be really light-handed with this. Just going to remove any excess product. And what you want to do is just follow the direction of the hair. And we're just going to create some brows within the brow. So lots of little strokes. And this is just giving a little bit of extra dimension to the face. We still want this to be quite editorial, so we're not going to do a heavy brow. And the idea with the dip brow is that you just recreate the brow hairs that aren't there. Okay, and just following the brow and the arch, and just fill in as you need. And if you need to soften any of the lines, just go in with a little cotton tip and just soften. These ones are teeny tiny ones from My Kit Co, and they're perfect for this sort of work. And then turn your head back around. And again, this is a process that does take some time, so just be patient and don't rush it. You don't want to ruin the whole look by having a wonky brow. So the end of the eyebrow should line up with the end of the eye. So you can just map it out by just putting your brush at the end of the eye and just seeing whereabouts that should end. I am then going to go in, this is another brow product. This is Cork, which is a slightly more red undertone. And this is just gonna create a little bit more dimension through the brow. So I'm just going to be really light-handed. I'll just bring your head around, that's it. So we want to just create some dimension into the brow. And the key with this is just super, super light-handed strokes. And you're just flicking the product through the brow and into any gaps. And by using two colors, you just create that 3D brow effect. These are a great little product to have in your kit, because you can also use this color to do little fake freckles, which we might do at the end. So a little tip that you can use as a makeup artist is just to rest your elbow on your other hand, and that just gives you a really steady base. And just finding all these little hacks that help you out as an artist. And again, just following the brow. Okay, and just evening up, making sure that everything is symmetrical. Amazing. And I'm just going back in with the top. And just softening any lines. I am happy with that. Just gonna go back in with the soap just to make sure that everything is blended. So when the brows are waxed back like this, it's almost that laminated brows, it just shoots absolutely amazingly. Okay, I'm ready to move on. Okay, so I'm going to work a little bit more on the eyes now. This is the Charlotte Tilbury bronzer. I'm just going to go in to the outer corners of the eyes. Just close, that's it. So we're just creating a little bit of dimension here with the bronzer. through the crease, up onto the brow bone. And then we'll do the same with the other eye. Just get you to bring your head around. Okay, so just concentrating on the outer corner of the eye. I'm catching onto the brow bone as well because we want it to be nice and sculpted on the outer corners. And just open. Amazing. Just make sure that all your edges are nice and blended and seamless again. So I'm just using the NARS Smudge Proof Eye Base underneath again. This is really just the best product to use underneath eyeshadows I find at the moment. It just really grabs the eyeshadow and just primes perfectly. Also just helps with any redness. Okay, and just make sure that that's all patted in. Okay, so just going back underneath the eyes with the bronzer, just using this brush. This is by Hakuhodo. And these are an amazing Japanese brush. So this brush is incredible for underneath the eyes. It just diffuses amazingly. Again, making the tools work for you, just pressing underneath the eyes. Okay, so we're gonna go in and we're gonna line the inside of the eye. So I'm just gonna get Leillia to look up, and this is the Rock and Coal Eye Pencil by Charlotte Tilbury. And I'm just gonna go into the bottom lash line. And just making sure that you give your model time to blink. And again, we wanna make sure that we're really working that into the lash line. It can come onto the lashes as well. And this just shows us where we're gonna use our wing. Going in. So these eyeliners are super, super creamy, which is perfect for when you're using eyeliner on the inside of the eye, because it doesn't drag the model's eye. And really get in there. We want it to kind of be a little bit smudgy underneath as well. And then just look straight ahead. Perfect. So this gives us our kind of like a guide so we can see where we're going to use our wing and where we're going to put our wing in. So a little tip that you can do when you're practicing winged eyeliner is to go in with a bronze or a taupey color first. I'm just going to use the same color as we used on the eyes, and using an angled brush. This is a MAC 266 brush, and we're just going to map out where we're going to head with our wing. So what you want to do is get your model to kind of like look at your shoulder, keeping the eyes open, and then imagine a line going from the bottom lash line all the way up to the eyebrow. And that's where our wing is gonna sit. So you can just put little lines in, and that'll be your guide. Once you get the hang of it a little bit more, you might not need to do this, but when you're learning or if you're a little bit shaky with eyeliner, then this is a really good way to kind of help you out. So again, just because we've got the black liner in there, it's really easy for us to see where the wing's gonna go, and then using the tail of the eyebrow and just marking that out. And we're gonna do quite an extended wing. And that just gives, you might have not even been able to see, it just gives you a little bit of a guide. And then just look straight ahead. And then make sure that you're even, which is the hardest part. Now we know where we're gonna go with the winged liner. I just wanna deepen in this crease just a little bit more. So I'm using my Natasha Denona palette again, and I'm gonna go in with the color Buff. And we just wanna create a little bit more dimension on the outer corners. I'll just turn your head there. And this is a Morphe 573 brush. And I just wanna have a little bit more dimension on the outer corner. And you want to get all of this done before you do your wing. This is all got to be perfect. And then just open and make sure that you're happy. Again, I like to use my other hand to support my hand. It just really helps you not put too much pressure on your model's face. And just taking that on the inner corner as well. Just back and forth in the crease, taking your time to blend it out. These sort of looks do take a while, so bear with me. I'm just using a clean brush just to make sure that everything is nice and diffused. Just open. I am going to do a little highlight on the lid before we go in with our liner. This is the Anastasia Beverly Hills in Crystal. So this is a very cool tone shimmery pigment. I'm just going to pop a little bit onto my tray. So I'm just going back in with my paint pot just to make sure that the lid is a little bit tacky, and it'll just help to grab that pigment. Okay, so I'm just spritzing my brush. This is a flat eyeshadow brush from MAC, and I'm just picking up that pigment. Just test it on your hand to make sure that you have the consistency you need. And I'm just gonna press that over the lid. So this is a super icy color, which only really looks good on fair skin. So you don't want to use this specific color on darker skins. Just open. And then just repeat exactly the same on the other eye, pressing the pigment over the lid. Just pressing that pigment right in. I'm going to go right into the inner corners as well, and then just softening any edges, and then just open. Great. So before I do the wing liner, I'm going to just go into the cheeks just to make sure I've got everything looking even. So this is the Westman Atelier Super Tinted Highlighter, and I'm just going to go onto the cheeks. And again, this is quite iridescent. It's a warmer iridescent than what we've already got on the skin, but it's all going to tie in. And this is going to be our bronzer and our blusher. And I'm using a dual fiber brush, which will just help to diffuse the product in. And then again, I always go in with my beauty blender just to make sure that all those edges are perfect. And you can go up onto the face tape and bring your head around. And just pressing that in. So when you're using this product, it's very highlighted, which is perfect for this look because we've got the highlighter underneath the skin and it's just going to give us that three-dimensional glow. Just going to use a tiny little bit across the nose and a little tiny bit around the hairline just to tie everything in. And Leillia has the most amazing cheekbones, so this just looks incredible. Okay, so before we do the liner, I'm just going back in and making sure that everything is perfect and blended. And I'm happy with how it looks, just open, amazing. And just look up, and I'm just going underneath again. So I'm gonna be using the MAC Black Tracks gel liner. So this is a super black gel liner and it's really long wearing. I'm just using my spatula and again I'm using the 266 angle brush. So it really does depend on personal preference of how we do our liners. I prefer to use a cream because I feel like I have more control. I'm just really loading up the brush and then just going to use a tissue. And I'm just going to pinch the brush just to make sure that the point is really sharp. I'm just going to have a few little practice lines on the back of my hand, making sure that your hand is obviously clean. And then we've already got the tape in, so we're just going to trace along the bottom lash line and up. So we've already mapped out where we're going to go, and we're just going to continue along that line. So the best thing to do is do really light strokes first, and then you can go in with a little bit more product. Okay, so once you've got your baseline, then get your model to close. Just close your eyes for me. And then just support the skin. I like to go a little bit further down from where I've already started. And then pull back onto the eye. So this does take a little bit of practice. When I come to the lash line, I'm just gonna push my brush in. And I'm going to get that outer corner perfect before I move into the inner corner. And we are doing a little bit of a elongated eye, so you can go back in and make sure that's perfect. Just open for me. Perfect. Okay, so we're just going to go in and just close again. I'm also going to pull back the eye and just make sure that we've got all the skin on the back of the lash line. And then open. Amazing. And then just look up, and I'm just going to connect the bottom and the top. And then look straight ahead. Perfect. And then close. And I just want to make sure that all that skin in the outer corner of the eye is all covered. And again, just pressing that liner in really just helps to make it a little bit easier for you rather than trying to do the liner in one sweep. And making sure that you're happy with your shape. You can just take off the tip with your finger as well and just open. Amazing. So now I'm going to get Leillia to look down. So bring your head around and then just look down that way. And I'm just going to lift the lid slightly and just start on the inner corner and connect the lashes. And if perfect, I know it's very intense. So just be patient with your model as well. If we need to have a break, then just let your model have a break. It's better to do that than to make her eyes water. I think this is one of the looks that makeup artists struggle with the most. And it really is just practice and trying to break it down in sections so you're not just trying to go all the way across. So the best thing to do is, yeah, perfect, just to do exactly what you did on the other side. Just make sure that you're tracing the bottom lash line. So get your model to keep their eyes open, and again we're tracking along the bottom lash line first. So as I said before, this is an editorial wing liner, so we are going quite low, we're going quite elongated. I'm just going to check to make sure, yeah, perfect. So yes, it is quite exaggerated, but you can use the same techniques in everyday makeup, or you can alter it to bridal makeup as well. But it's always fun to be able to create these looks. And then if you just look up, and you want to make sure that you're connecting the bottom lash line to the top. You can also use these tiny little cotton buds, cotton tips, if you need to perfect your liner or if you need to just thin it out a bit. And I'm just going to bring your head around just to make sure they're in the same place. Yep, okay, and then head back around. Okay, so I'm actually just going to clean my brush because this product does dry quite quickly. And you can just do this while you're working. And then go back in and just load up your brush again so it's workable again. So then just bring your head around and then close for me. And again, lifting up the lid will just help you get into this corner there. And you don't want to see any skin on the outer corner. I always like to go across to the center of the eye and then stop. Making a mess of my hand as usual. And again, I'm just using my hand to support my other hand. And just go in and thicken your line as much as you want. And then I like to just tap to perfect. And then open. Ooh, you are very Bella Hadid. Okay, so then we get your model to look down to your right, and then I'm just lifting up the inner corner of the eye very gently and just connecting the liner, just making sure that your model has time to blink. and then look straight ahead, and then look down again, perfect. Open. Amazing. Okay, cool. So I'm happy with that liner. Just look down there, I think. It says no makeup artist ever. Always going back in for more. Okay. So just going in with this color called Tar from my Bieber palette. This is like a smoky charcoal color. And just loading up a little tiny brush. Again, this is a little detailed brush by Hakuhodo, and just taking off the excess. And I'm just gonna soften these edges and just make it a little bit more smoky. Okay, perfect. I'm just working as you go with any fallout. And just the same, that's it, perfect. So I'm just softening that wing as well with the grey colour. And I like to just have a tissue here so you can just go straight onto the tissue to take off any excess. So we want the underneath of the eye to be pretty smoky. Just go back in and just soften everything. Amazing. And just making sure that it's nice and diffused. Just softening again underneath. Okay. So we're just going to perfect the skin now. This is the Fenty Beauty concealer that we used at the beginning. So just making sure that you've got all the under eye perfected. There is going to be a little bit of fallout from the charcoal color. They are super pigmented. So just watch out for that and just make sure that you've removed any. And just bring your head back around. And we've just got lashes to do and lip to do after this. I'm leaving the nose quite sheer. I am going to add a couple of little fake freckles as well. So we don't want to have too much product around the nose. So I'm going to just curl the lashes, just going in. Being really gentle. And we're going to apply mascara. Again, my one and only mascara I use is the Kevin Aucoin. And using a short little mini mascara wand. And then just getting the mascara on. Just need to make sure that you coat the back of the lashes. I'm also just going to get a little bit of extra mascara on the back of a metal lash comb. I can actually use a little bit of that. And then I'm gonna go back down the lashes. So when you're working with blonde lashes, you need to make sure that the root of the lashes are coated with mascara. So by doing this with the mascara comb, you catch the very back of the lash, because you don't want to see any blonde lashes at the root. You just need to be really careful when working with these combs. Okay, and that just makes sure that your lashes are all coated. And then we're going to go into the other side. I'm just wiggling into the root. Leillia has amazing lashes anyway. And then doing exactly the same. So just catching the back of the lash and lifting up the lid and just being really, really careful. And then just open. Awesome. Okay, lash time. So I'm going to use a combination of two individual lashes. These are the Model Rock long knot-free lashes, and these ones are the Harvard Beauty Co. We just want to get a really fluffy lash, so it's really nice to use two different textures, and that just creates a more wispy lash because the liner's quite definite, so we just want to make sure that the lashes look nice and fluttery. So I'm going to go in, if you just look straight ahead and then down, so just going in the center, and then I'm also going to do the same on the other side, just so we're exactly the same. And I'm just going to build these across. I'm leaving a little space in between each lash, and then I'm going to fill in with the other lash. Okay, because we're just really playing with textures in this look, so we want it to be nice and fluffy. And these long ones by Model Rock are super wispy at the ends. Okay, I'm now going in with the size 12s and just filling in the gaps. And this is when you really see your look come together. And just look straight ahead. Gorgeous. And look down. Sit. So just filling in the gaps, alternating the long ones with the fluffies. And just look straight ahead. I always like to use my tweezers as well, just to make sure that you're pushing the lashes in place, and you can also just help to kind of wisp them up a bit. And just look straight ahead. Oh my goodness, looks amazing. And look down. And just one more, look straight ahead, yeah. One more Model Rock. And you just need to use your judgment and just keep looking and seeing what works for what eye shape. Not everybody will be able to pull this intensity off. Leillia has the perfect face for this sort of look. And just look down. So just going in with 1 or 2 individuals in the number 8s. And I like to use individuals for this sort of look just because it creates that really fluttery eye look. It's much more flattering on the eye. Sometimes the heavy strip lash, they just doesn't suit the eye, and with the individuals you can just tailor make them to each eye shape. And last one going on now. Okay, and then just look straight ahead. Okay, so I'm just going in with a little bit of banana powder. This is by Mecca Max, and I just want to make sure that the center of the face is completely flawless. So this actually helps to brighten. It brightens under the eyes as well and just gives that real studio finish to the skin. So just finishing off with the powder to brighten the skin, and I'm just going in with the mascara on the bottom lashes to tie everything in. And for the lips, I'm going to be using, this is the Pat McGrath Suburbia lip liner. So I'm just going to go in, it's a really similar color to Leillia's lips anyway. And I've just got a little bit of balm underneath the lips. And I just want a little bit more definition on the outer corners. So to tie in with the 3D theme that we've got going on, I'm using, it's more of a pinky lip liner, and then the lipstick, the lip lacquer, is by Tom Ford in Soft Core, and that's quite a browny color. And we just want to tie the two in together, and again this just creates an interesting 3D feel to the lip. And you can just slightly outline the lip. Okay, and just making sure that you're happy with the shape. I think with all these editorial kind of looks, you can go over the lip line a little bit, but there's definitely a fine line between it looking fashion editorial and looking just a bit odd. So you just need to be really careful. And again, just take your time. So just take a step back and make sure that you're really happy. I'm just perfecting the cheeks, making sure that we have enough products to tie it all in. Okay, so I'm super happy with the look. She looks amazing. I'm just gonna do a few little finishing touches. I'm going in with the inner corners of the eye, just with that same Anastasia crystal highlight, just to really make the eye pop and give it that really glassy, icy feel. I'm then gonna go in and do a couple of little freckles using the brow pen that I mentioned earlier. And you just wanna kind of pop these on just sporadically. And the key is to just take the edge off with your finger. And this just makes a really fun, playful feel, especially if your model is nice and fair-skinned. And just go a couple across the cheek. The very final thing we're gonna do is just use a little bit of the Shiseido clear lip gloss. So just a tiny bit of gloss over the lips. Okay, so there we have it, your ultimate winged liner with holographic skin.